Hi.
So we're away in the caravan at the moment. You'll be seeing over the episodes over the next few weeks. But we just wanted to do a little video that's sort of a bit difficult and a bit sad. At the end of the last episode, you might remember that we were in the Adria Twin for the week, and we cut the journey short and decided to come home, didn't we? Because Wonky wasn't feeling, he'd not been well all week, and he just needs to be at home, and that's more important. That's much more important than whizzing around in some camper van. And we were thinking that he had a poorly shoulder. We thought he'd pulled a muscle, so he wasn't feeling any better. So when we got home, we took him to the vet, and the vet kind of thought that maybe, yes, it was something skeletal, and gave him a really, really powerful shot of painkiller, which sort of zonked him out for about 12 hours, even put him off his food, which is something that's never happened, is it?
Absolutely not. His food, anybody else's food, more food, more milk, more everything, really.
He just sort of stared at it, really, because of the painkillers. Now, we had known for 10 months that Wonky sadly had cancer in his tummy, and we were told that there wasn't any surgery or anything that he could have, but really it was a sort of a waiting game and just carry on with life as normal. And to be honest, you wouldn't have known, would you, that there was anything?
No, not even at his worst points.
No.
He had a couple of little fluctuations, but even during those, you just wouldn't know.
No, you wouldn't have known that was
very
going
ill
on.
Dog.
So we mentioned this to the vet, and he kind of thought it probably is something muscular. But so we knew this, and we were told, 10 months ago, that he would just stop eating when he became too poorly. But he wasn't. He was eating like a little piglet.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was every time he woke up, he was in a lot of pain. So a couple of days later, we took him back to the vets straight away and said, look, we want an ultrasound and some x-rays to see what's going on, because he had arthritis, because he was found in a bin as a puppy with his back end all smashed up, and he was fixed, but that was 10 years ago, and he did have some arthritis in his back, and which he had drugs for, which were really, really successful.
And he also had no femur head on one side, so his hip was basically tendons pulled together on that side.
Yeah, so he had a hip on one side and no hip on the other side. But he got on with life great. He walked very oddly, and he had his own lots of very, very funny little things. No, I'm going round. No mountaineering for me. Oh, hang on. Yeah. No. And so we took him back to the vet and said, look, this is something that's not right here. And so yeah, we asked an ultrasound and some x-rays, and they said they'd do some bloods as well. So we left him with him for a couple of hours, and the vet phoned up and said his bloods were amazing, absolutely amazing, and that he had looked at where the original hip had been removed and the work they'd done, and said it was absolutely incredible work. And it turns out our vet is a top orthopedic vet surgeon, so for him to say that must mean that it was, it was really good. He said that the arthritis was in L2-3 in the spine, which is quite low down the base, which we knew about, and we could see, it had been getting worse, which we knew about. But unfortunately,
he'd started to, is it spondylose, the bone, grow extra bone growth on his part of his spine,
which would have been happening over a long period of time because of the way he was standing and the arthritis. And he said, so that was a concern, but the larger concern was that the mass itself had grown in the last 10 months, and that it was pressing against the spleen, and the spleen was enlarged, and that's even more concerning, and was probably causing the pain, was it was pushing against the kidney, and the kidney was being pressed against the L2-3 vertebrae, where the sort of joint ossification was taking place. And that was in what, that was no surprise, really, was it?
No, it's no surprise. It's just the fact that when he was waking up. He wasn't a very vocal dog, unless he was going "ah woo"
for his dinner. And look, he was a quiet dog.
But yeah, he was waking up and he was biting at his bed, But once we picked him up and cuddled him, his pain sort of went. He went, oh.
But obviously that was no good thing, and there was nothing we could do about the cancer.
The only option, there wasn't an operative option. The growth was something like 6 centimetres. We're taking huge. That Wonky was only about 7 centimetres wide. It was a bit like me having a football inside me.
We'd had some difficult conversations over the weekend, and there were no solutions. There was no surgery that could take place. There were no drugs he could have. There were no more painkillers he could have. You can't fill a dog with methadone every 2 or 3 days, because it was wearing off after 12 hours the twice we tried it, and he was just in horrible pain every time he woke up. So we made the really difficult but we know right decision, and the vet really was thorough, and the vet really did back us up. So we made the very difficult decision to take him out. We took him out into the garden, and he gave you a really big cuddle over your shoulder.
Yeah, he'd not been able to cuddle over my shoulder, hooked over here in my beard for weeks, probably because of the pain he was in. And then that day he just did it and stayed there. And
it was a lovely sunny day, and we'd asked the vet to come to the house because we just didn't want it in the surgery, because that was our personal choice of that we didn't want it in the surgery. So we said to the vet, I personally didn't want to see any needles, and Wonky was sort of over Steve's shoulder, and so we said, if you could do it without me seeing any needles, and for him to be over your shoulder. And I talked to him, and he was looking up at the sunshine, and it was a blue sky, wasn't it?
Birds were singing.
So we just talked to him, and he just went to sleep, didn't he?
On my shoulder.
Yeah. And it was like he'd gone to sleep. Curled him up in a blanket on my knee afterwards, and you had a hold of him as well, didn't you? And the vet just sort of slipped away out the house, which was amazing of him. And so hard, but I never thought I would make that decision until he'd stopped eating. But when you see an animal in that much pain, and you know that it's
only going to get worse.
Yeah, he was existing for his food. Even the day before, he was eating his food, but then sleeping in funny places, and going to sleep and waking up and being in terrible vocal pain, and then just going to sleep somewhere else in a strange place. It was the only decision, and the vet actually said he had no guilt in what he was doing. So that is what's happened. That was 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago today. And it's been hard, for a little dog. He's left a big hole in the house.
All we see is those little 2 ears that would
as if they're like
at the end of the bed, or looking at you round the doorpost, or
dinner.
You
would say
dinner. Or creeping in the kitchen behind you and standing there wagging his tail, going, would like any chance of some milk?
Look, I see you're making a cup of tea. And he was a weird little dog in his own little ways.
Okay, where's he gone? Where's he gone? Again?
Come on, Wonks, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, Wonks. Way! Oh my god. You did it! What you done now? Yeah, you did that.
So that's the situation, and Hope has been very confused by it all. So she's been getting lots of extra treats, and of course she's never been an only dog, so she's learning, because we had Benson when we adopted her as well. So she's sort of learning to eat on her own, because they've always ate quickly, competitively together.
We suspected she might be a grazer, and she was completely confused on the first morning, looking for Wonky, where was he? And then when he didn't turn up, she ate very little and then kept going back and having a little bit, and then and she's still doing that now. So she's a bit of a grazer, unless you give her the really yummy pouches, which she'd happily sit there while you squeeze them into her chops without a bowl.
She got them on pouches.
So a combination of I don't know what to do, and where's the pouches?
Yeah, she's a sort of snuggly dog, is Hope, so she's having snuggles and lots of them, and lots of extra walks. So yeah, Wonky came from Dogs of Portugal, which is an amazing place on the edge of Lisbon, as did Hope. And we adopted him after he was found by a student in the bin, and he took him into the student department, and the professor on that department,
Professor of Biochemistry.
Ah, is that what it was?
Yeah.
And the rest of the department paid to have the surgery that was needed, and some hydrotherapy and physiotherapy. And when they put him up for adoption, he was all shaved, and there was some sad little videos of him. And I remember saying to you, didn't I, as a proper wonky dog, and our life motto is stay wonky, never be normal. Sorry about the judder there, that was Hope jumping off the bed, jumping off the sofa,
shaking the caravan,
shaking the whole caravan shake, because that's Hope. And so yeah, stay wonky, never be normal, don't be rash, do rash things, but never be normal. And so we adopted him, and that's why he was called Wonky, and that's how we became the Wonky Crew.
Absolutely,
that's how we became the Wonky Crew, and we will always be the Wonky Crew, because everything we do is as a crew. So Benson, Hope and Wonky and us will always be
the Wonky Crew.
Yeah. So we just wanted to let you know, really, because the videos will, keep putting them out, which, obviously thank you for watching them. But obviously Wonky won't be in them anymore, so we just wanted to explain why. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Wonky, for being Wonky.
Absolutely. So
we will always be Wonky, folks. A woo woo.
A woo woo.
A woo diddy woo. Thank you. Take care.
Oh.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Sing out once. Woo-hoo. Do the walk of life. Woohoo! Once. Ready?
Now. Woohoo!
Now.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Once. Woo-hoo!
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo, once. Da-da-da-da-da. Get the motion. Your timing's all out. You got the motion, you got the actions. Woo-hoo! Dedication, devotion. Come on, once. Ready? Ready once.
Hold up.
What? Woo-hoo!
Woo-hoo. Goodbye.
Oh, once. You got put off by Hope. Bit late. You're a bit late.
Ready now?
Woohoo!
Woohoo! That's it!
Hey!
Hey!
What do you rank, Benson? Woohoo!
Benson. Oof.
Woohoo! Wonky! Woohoo! Oh, you too! Oh, good boy! Good boy!
Your eyes are shining bright. Words can't capture this moment. My heart is drawn closer to you in a world that's just for us. The breeze gently